I'm Jon Bloch, and I'm executive producer at 4A Games.
Hey guys, we're at Gamescom, and we got an exclusive interview for Metro Exodus. So, as first question, could you go into detail with the open world of the game? Like we had in the last games, some different scenarios. What can people expect of Exodus?
So the previous two games, Metro 2033 and Metro Last Light, were pretty linear in design and presentation, linear story-driven games. And one of the new things that we're introducing with Metro Exodus is these open sandbox-style environments. There are still classic linear levels, and you will move from the more linear-style gameplay to these open environments throughout the course of the game. There is a linear story arc that will carry you through the experience, but these more open environments allow the player to kind of stretch their legs and set their own pace and really explore the world more and immerse themselves deeper into the environment, the world, and the story.
Since the first Metro game, we always encountered some fractions. Could you go into detail of that? What people?
Yeah, the factions that were in the previous games were based on the society that was formed within the Moscow Metro system. Now this game takes you outside of Moscow and across the country, so those factions, won't necessarily be seen outside of Moscow, but similar to how society developed in the Moscow Metro system, groups of people that survived outside have formed their own societies. So the player will come across new groups of people, varying friendliness to the player. Some will not be friendly at all. Some maybe neutral, the player's actions might have an effect on that, on how they react towards the player as well. So there's a load of new environments, societies, people, mutants, locations that the player will come across in this story. I mean, the journey on the train takes place over the course of a year, so you'll see all 4 seasons, and so there's a load of new content for players to experience in this game.
Yeah. Can we expect any changes from the story build-up of the game? Like, is it going to be more linear or open or?
So there is a linear story arc that will carry the player through the entire experience. But as I said, in these open environments, the player can kind of step off of that main story thread and go and explore all the side content and the environment around around the area where they've stopped and gotten off the train. So there's a lot more opportunity for players to kind of set their own pace and do what they want when they want in these environments, and then when you're ready to get back on that main story thread and continue on the journey, players can do so.
Yeah. Could you give us a quick overview of the new weapons or features in Exodus?
So we had to overhaul a number of systems and even add new features to a number of systems in order to support this new sandbox-style gameplay. That sort of gameplay kind of requires systems that allow players to approach things a lot more dynamically. And so one of the systems that we had to overhaul was the weapon system. We rebuilt it from the ground up. It's completely modular now, so you can find mods, upgrades, attachments in the world. And at any time, using your backpack, you can change the configuration of any of your weapons to suit your playstyle or to allow you to approach a situation with a different strategy.
Okay. So, what is the main focus like for players to go through the game? Like, is it going to be more stealthy, or can the players choose what they want?
Players can choose how they want to approach things. I mean, this is a survival game. Resources are scarce, so while you can approach situations, run and gun, guns blazing, it might not be the best tactic at all times, because you might run out of resources pretty quick, and you'll have to find more and craft more ammunition for yourself. The Metro games have always encouraged stealth gameplay, but we've tried to make sure that our systems are dynamic enough to allow players to approach how they want, and the game will adapt to how the player decides to approach, or even if they try to approach stealth and then they screw up.
Since it's more open now, do you got any plans for vehicles or something, or?
We've shown a couple vehicles in the level that we showed off at E3, the spring level, and yes, and various other methods of traversal. There's no fast travel or anything like that, but there are various ways of moving around the environment other than just walking.
Are there going to be like any new hazards or like a new weather or?
Yeah, well, I mean, as the seasons change, the weather changes along with it, right? So there's appropriate weather for each season, and the weather is dynamic in the level, so it'll come and go as time advances. There's a full day-night cycle in these environments as well, and the player can manipulate that by sleeping, so that you can approach situations at night if you want to use a different strategy, because maybe at night, bandits in their camp are huddled around a campfire or sleeping, like in an area where, and using the cover of darkness might be to the advantage of somebody trying to sneak in. But during the day, maybe they're out on patrol and they're more spread out, so there's less guys in the middle of their camp. So depending on the approach that the player wants to take, there's a lot of these kind of knobs that you can turn and features that allow for players to have a more dynamic experience.
Are there any plans on multiple endings, or is it just one straight line?
Well, I mean, it's been something that we've done in the past, but I'll say, wait and see, play the game.
So maybe as last question, what would you say is your most favorite? Since you've been working on the game, what are you most passionate about the whole game? Like a feature or something you really want to have the players recognize?
Well, I mean, I think the biggest thing for us this time is introducing these new open style levels, and all the new gameplay options that players have, all the different ways that they're going to be able to experience Metro this time around. Previous games being linear, we have the ability as designers, as developers, to craft the experience exactly the way that we want players to experience it. And this time around, we're putting that control more in the hands of the player, so players will get to experience Metro the way that they want to.
Yeah, sounds awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.